Background. Many years ago, just after giving birth to my daughter, I found out her father, now 52, was cheating on me, now 39 female, with two of my sisters. We'd been married 5 years at this point, and I was, of course, devastated. Neither of my sisters knew he was having an affair with the other, and it came out because my mum found out about my older sister, after which my younger sister admitted what had been happening as well. When I confronted him, he didn't say a word. He walked out and I didn't see him for nearly 4 years. He continued to send money each month, but there was no contact or explanation for his behaviour. I cut all ties with my sisters. They've also never tried to contact me or apologise or see their niece. When it comes to family functions, my wider family has always made it clear that if I'm coming, they're not welcome, but if I'm not there, they are welcome to come. I didn't ask for this, but my family said that as I was the one who was hurt, I didn't deserve to feel awkward. This meant my daughter had never met her aunts, and as I never had cause to talk about them and my wider family didn't speak about them, she didn't know they were her aunts. When my daughter was a toddler, he sent a letter explaining he'd spent the last 2 years in therapy, dealing with various mental and addiction issues. While it was no excuse for his behaviour, he wanted to try and make amends. I was sceptical but didn't want my daughter never to know her father, so we slowly started having more contact. My daughter's a teen now, and her father and I have a civil relationship. He's supported her financially and emotionally as a father should, and he's always been respectful of my boundaries. I'll never forgive him for what he did, however, I do believe my daughter is better off for having him in her life. About a week ago, my older sister added my daughter on Facebook and they got chatting. My sister told her she was her aunt and she wanted to start mending old wounds. My daughter asked what she meant, but my sister refused to say, it wasn't her place, and told her to come to me. I was furious. I called my sister and screamed at her for upsetting my daughter and not coming to me directly. I thought it was manipulative and another example of why I didn't want her in my life. I then had to sit down with my daughter and explain what had happened. She was devastated and said she doesn't want any contact with her father. I told her I didn't want that. Despite the mistakes he had proven, he was now a good father and what happened was between me and him. She was adamant, however, and so I respected her wishes. Her father is devastated and believes it's my fault for telling her about the affair and I should have made something up about why I fell out with my sisters. However, I don't think lying to her would have been right. I asked my friends and a few of them said I should have protected my daughter's relationship with her dad, and her not having him about would hurt her more than if I'd lied to her. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You protected her when she was young. You gave Dad a shot with her. She's a teen now, she's not a little kid anymore. The truth came out, as it usually does eventually. You don't owe the cheater lies. You owe your daughter the truth. Your friends are idiots for telling you to protect the relationship. You've done that for a long time, and it's not your job to cover up his mistakes. He benefited immensely from the way you've handled this. He has to find a way to work it out with your daughter when she's ready to hear from him. A man was having intimacy with 3 sisters and thought that was going to turn out well for him. Well, surprise, surprise, actions have consequences. Her father saying, "You should have made up something else to tell her," aka lie to her, suggests that he hasn't changed as much as he makes out. What did you do wrong here? First, notice the only people accusing you are the same people who caused all this. Classic narcissist move. Clearly, your family taught you to be a scapegoat. All he was going to do was sneak back to bring more toxic crap and your sister was enabling him. She started this by going to your daughter and hinting at old wounds, then told her to go to you. She literally forced this. Your sister wasn't trying to heal old wounds. She was probably angry your ex had a relationship with you and your daughter and she's still excluded. So she decided to inflict some new wounds. She is still this idiotic to this day. If you never talk to these people again, your life will probably be better. Update. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter the real reason her father and I split up? Thank you so much everyone for the responses. I appreciate you all taking the time. It's so good to hear the majority of you agree with what I did. It's so good to have a sanity check as I didn't feel like lying to her was the way to go, but I was so worried about doing the wrong thing. I'll definitely take on board what a few of you said about giving her time. You're right. She's only just found this information out, so I get that her anger is off the scale. In regards to encouraging her to stay in contact with her father, I've let her know that she shouldn't feel like she shouldn't see him because of what he did to me. I'm over it and genuinely happy she has and had a relationship with him, so if she does decide to go no contact, I've said to her that she should do it for her reasons, not mine, and I, as well as the rest of our family, will always support her decision. I don't want to push or prod her into calling him, only because I know when I stopped talking to my sisters, had my family tried to push me into forgiving or seeing them, it would have caused resentment between them and me. I needed to do things in my own time and make my own decision, so I want to do the same for my daughter. Also, to clarify, I was 18 when we married and he was 30. We met through a part-time job I had at the time at a pub on weekends. He, my ex, looked younger than he was. I looked older. I thought he was about 20. Looking back as an adult, I wouldn't say there was ever any intentional manipulation on his part. What I mean by that is, I don't think he went out of his way to find a young girlfriend because he could manipulate me, but I accept I was still very young and infatuated. He was very immature and didn't see an issue with the age difference when he clearly should have. We dated for 2 years before marriage, and when I introduced him to my parents, they said they did like him as a person at the time, but did also see red flags and knew that I was strong-willed, as they would put it. They knew if they brought up the age difference and openly disapproved of the relationship, I would have pushed back, and they wanted to make sure we still had a good relationship, so that if they did start to notice signs of manipulation, etc., they were close by, could help, and also knew I could always come to them. My younger sister is adopted, so is only 3 months younger than me. We were all adults when they started hooking up. Of course, if my daughter brought home someone in their 30s, I'd be horrified. But she's exactly the same as I was at her age, and I hope I'd have the presence and calmness of mind that my parents did, so that I could make sure she always knew she had somewhere to turn to if she ever needed it. So they started dating when OP was a teen and he was 28 and got married 2 years later. I think OP still has the wool over her eyes about this dude who seemed like a creep and should probably be kept from the daughter he fathered. I understand OP's point about her parents, but I just can't be convinced that sitting back and doing nothing while this unfolds is anything but enabling. OP's parents failed in a major way, and that's probably hard to reckon with. Yes, OP, she's the same age you were when her father went after you. He thought a teen was old enough to date and have a relationship with a full-blown adult. Well, it's also old enough to know the truth about parents' relationship and affair. And honestly, it's the best if the daughter doesn't want to see him. She's much safer that way. I wonder when your daughter will do the math on that one and whether she'll find yet another reason that she doesn't want to be around him. I, 43 female, am currently searching for a nanny for my children. My son is a kindergartner, my daughter is a tween. We found one young lady yesterday that seemed like a great fit. We interviewed her in our home, explained our careers, I'm a lawyer and my husband is a trainer, and explained everything to her. She seemed happy with everything, was kind to us, and had no issues there. The problem came when I spoke to her about the dress code I expected. I noticed she had on leggings with a sweater today, which I guess was okay since she wasn't working, but I would have expected a little more for an interview. However, I told her I expected that she would not wear athletic clothes while she tends to the children, i.e. no leggings, yoga pants, sweats, etc. She kind of laughed and said, "So what do you want me to wear?" And my husband laughed, but I was serious. I told her that type of clothing is inappropriate since she's not working out, she's working. She seemed put off and said that that's what she normally wears, and if she's going to be active with the kids, she needs to be dressed comfortably. I told her the expectations, and she said she understood and left. Later on, she told me she didn't think this would work out. Was I wrong for setting expectations? I don't think it's okay to walk around in tight clothing with my son and husband present. Plus, she should be dressed like she's working. She's a professional. A teacher would not dress that way. My husband said I was overreacting. Am I the idiot? I don't think walking around in tight clothing with my son and husband present is okay. Tell us you're a misogynist without telling us you're a misogynist. You are the idiot, OP. As this woman said, if she's going to be active with the kids, then she should dress comfortably. What exactly do you want a nanny to do? Sit around and do nothing but look at the kids? She's a nanny, not a fashion model. She needs to be comfortable looking after the children, playing with them, etc. I think leggings and a jumper are better for that. Your example of a teacher is silly. She's not a teacher. She's a nanny. Also, she's quite insecure about her husband. Especially strange to me considering her husband is a trainer. What clothes do you think he's looking at literally all day in his professional setting? OP, you realise your husband can still try to cheat even if she's wearing a potato sack, right? I guess husband and son aren't allowed in public either. It would be too inappropriate to expose them to all the women wearing leggings and crop tops in stores. The horror. OP, I'm terrified of how you treat your daughter. You're clearly ingraining the horrific attitude into her head that women are to blame for the lusting of men. Honestly, I would have noped out of the job just for that if I were her. I, 40 female, have a daughter, Erin, teen. When Erin was 10, my ex-husband Mike and I divorced and he moved to a different city for work. He would come and see Erin a few times a year and sometimes she would fly to see him. As I'm the only adult Erin has around, I normally cook for both of us, and occasionally for my boyfriend when he's over for dinner. I'm not a health freak and mostly try to make filling and nutritional meals with cheat meals once or twice a week. A few months ago, my ex-husband moved back to our city alongside his wife, Kim, 32. Erin was happy about it as it meant she could see her dad more often, and we've agreed that she can stay over at their new place over the weekend and holidays if they don't have other plans. I've met Kim a few times and she seems lovely and I trust Mike to look after her. However, since staying with them, Erin kept talking about what a good cook Kim is and how tasty her food is. When I asked her what she has when she stays, she mentioned a lot of Asian and Asian-inspired dishes, which I have no issues with since I went through a phase of eating a specific cuisine for a few years when I was younger too. So I've tried making more Asian-like foods at home to keep Erin happy. Ramen, pad thai, different grilled meats, kimchi, etc. However, no matter what I make, new or old dishes, Erin would say she doesn't like them and they don't taste good. I had tried cooking her favourite meals and desserts from before and got the same reaction. Over the last 2 weeks, it got to the point where she would refuse to eat anything I cooked and would either go and stay with friends or have food at Mike's place. I got tired of this, and when Erin came back, I told her that if she didn't like my cooking, she could cook herself and do her own shopping since she knows how to cook, and we have a large supermarket 2 minutes down the road from us. Erin got upset, went to her bedroom to pick up her clothes, and is staying with Mike. Mike and my own parents called me to say I was being unreasonable and an idiot, since Erin is my daughter, so I can't keep starving her. I don't think I'm being an idiot here, since my daughter refuses to eat anything I make these days. However, I would appreciate a second opinion. Edit. The food is always available in the fridge. If it's not eaten by the time she goes to school, my boyfriend or I just eat it for lunch and make something new for dinner. Plus, there are always snacks, cereals, different sides, fruits and veggies in the fridge or cupboards, which she can help herself to. Not the idiot. You're providing food for her to eat and her preferences are preventing her from consuming it. Telling her that if she doesn't like what you cook, then she can purchase and cook her own food does not equivocate to telling her that you're no longer willing to cook for or feed her. She's old enough to cook for herself, so she's pretty entitled to react this way. This is not about the food. She gets something there that she doesn't get at your home. Maybe she thinks the grass is looking greener somewhere else. This is no surprise. She probably gets a bit more spoiled at your ex's home because it's all new. Agree, something else may be happening that's deeper than the food issue. Split parents and crappy relationships with parents make teen years difficult if she's not already in therapy or part of a support group. I went through this same thing in high school because of parent issues, and I wonder if your daughter told them the whole story or if she lied and claimed you weren't feeding her. She's being difficult on purpose. Our child is a toddler and we have alternating weeks. My mother and sisters help me with childcare when I'm working, and I know I'm very lucky for this. However, my ex-girlfriend has recently started complaining that she's having trouble with childcare. The cost has become unreasonable and our daughter is at an age now where she screams and cries when left with someone she doesn't know. And she can scream. My girl has a bright future as a tuba player because those lungs are powerful. I told my ex my mom could watch our daughter for her, but she said she didn't want my family watching her daughter on her time. So I figured that was the end of the conversation. But she brought it up again at the next swap. So I asked her why she was telling me this, and she got offended. She said I should care about her struggles since it involves our daughter. I said it's impossible to sympathize with problems with easy solutions. If she wants to waste her money on babysitters our daughter hates, that's her choice. If it causes problems for her, those are her problems. If she doesn't want my help, which she doesn't, then there's no reason for us to discuss her problems, as nothing can come of it. She said I was being an idiot and she just wanted a sympathetic ear and sometimes needed to talk about her problems. I said that's what a therapist is for, or her friends or something. I'm not going to pretend to be interested in her problems. I don't like problems. I like solutions. She said that's why our relationship ended, and I agreed that it was and asked why she expected me to do something for her now that we're broken up. Listen to problems without offering solutions. I wouldn't even do it when we're together. She knows I'm only interested in solutions, not problems. So why was she expecting something else? My sister said it's important to communicate well with my child's mother, and I should pretend to care even though I don't keep the lines of communication open. She said it's only once a week, and saying, "I'm sorry that sucks," costs me nothing and takes less time than saying, "Your problems aren't real problems and I don't care," and starting a fight. She might have a point. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I'm here with your sister. Whether you like it or not, you will have to communicate and coordinate with your ex for many years ahead. Thus, it would be easier for everybody and much better for your daughter if you two maintained a somewhat friendly relationship. I'm saying this as a child of divorced parents, and I was lucky they were most of the time friendly to each other and cooperative. Otherwise, I would mentally suffer a lot. As a stepmom, yes, it is best for him to have a civil relationship. However, this does not mean he needs to provide emotional support for her. The child is what they need to communicate about and keep in the center of it all. He offered a solution. She refused it and then got mad at him because she continued to struggle. It's not his problem anymore as long as his daughter is cared for. Not the idiot OP. I can't believe your ex is turning down free childcare. She needs to move on and stop depending on you for emotional support. Divorce means the end of the relationship between you and her as anything more than your parents. Everyone's the idiot here. You don't owe her a sympathetic ear, of course. You don't owe her anything. But you know for a fact you're antagonizing her, so why do you expect any different response? This is why the two of you broke up. It's not new. She's not letting your mom watch her for free because that means you suddenly have a claim in court, if you choose to do that she's a lousy parent who never cares for her child, and you and your mother have to step in. I can't believe you haven't thought of that, because if everything were switched around and her mom offered to babysit on your time, you'd have the same vulnerabilities. And based on your animosity towards her, she clearly can't trust you to do right by her.